Welcome to a fascinating exploration of love life in Iceland, a stunning country situated between Greenland and Norway in northwestern Europe. Get ready to discover a culture that is truly open-minded and progressive when it comes to sexual relationships. Icelanders have a unique mentality, embracing nudity in a way that might shock many other cultures. For them, nudity and casual sex are not taboo, but rather perfectly normal. Icelandic men and women have no qualms about openly discussing their sexuality, and this freedom of expression is an intrinsic part of their culture. Women in Iceland play a powerful role both in society and in their own homes. They are independent and determined, often taking the lead in various aspects of their lives. However, Iceland is much more than just its progressive attitude towards sex. It is a breathtaking country with incredible landscapes that include volcanoes, glaciers, horses, sheep, and stunning nature deeply valued by Icelanders. It's truly one of the most beautiful and impressive places on our planet. A notable example of Iceland's natural beauty is the Skogafoss waterfall, standing out surrounded by lush green fields in summer and covered in snow in winter. Local legend has it that the first Vikings hid treasures in caves beneath this spectacular waterfall. Additionally, Icelandic mentality allows people to have a fun night with a man or woman in a completely normal way. The idea of a conquest game where a man or woman pursues someone of the opposite sex is something only a true Icelander can fully comprehend. Icelandic men are truly liberal when it comes to relationships, and there's no need to go through 3 dates before considering the idea of going to bed. In Iceland, it's even encouraged when people are direct and open about their desires. This approach allows for assessing the chemistry between the couple from the start. Here in Iceland, women are known for their initiative and independence. It's quite common to see women leading family businesses while their husbands take secondary roles in work teams. Women can enjoy similar status or, in many cases, hold positions of greater responsibility. This is a big difference compared to many other countries where men are expected to lead, and women are rarely seen in leadership roles. In Iceland, sex is considered important in a relationship and often makes sense to be straightforward from the first encounter. If there is mutual interest, sexual relations can occur as early as the first date. This is the approach adopted by some Icelandic men and women and is a natural part of this country's relationship culture. This contrasts with many other countries around the world where norms and expectations around dating and sex can be quite different. Iceland is truly a unique place when it comes to its progressive mindset regarding relationships and sexuality. The open and liberal view on sexuality in Iceland has historical roots dating back to the time of the country's first settlers, the Vikings. The Vikings had a progressive attitude towards sexuality, including acceptance of relationships. This sexual freedom is shared by Iceland and other Nordic countries and traces its origins to Viking culture. During the Viking era, women had the freedom to conduct tests to assess sexual compatibility with their future husbands. If the man didn't pass the test, the woman had the right to refuse marriage. Additionally, women could marry from the age of 15, often to older men. Although families could agree to marriages, women always had the final say. After marriage, Viking women maintained various rights, including the right to divorce and the right to inherit land. While relationships outside of marriage were initially allowed in the Viking era, they were later criminalized, and those involved could even be killed. Sexuality was often mentioned in Icelandic sagas describing settlements in Iceland in the 10th and 11th centuries. However, in 1707, smallpox devastated much of the Icelandic population, resulting in the deaths of about 12,000 Icelanders, a quarter of the population at the time. During this period, Iceland was part of the Kingdom of Denmark, and the Danish king decreed that all Icelandic women, married or not, should have at least 6 children. This was not seen as unfair, violent, or shameful, but rather as a necessity to ensure the population's survival in times of crisis. Today, traditional dating may seem uncomfortable for Icelanders. What they prefer is to meet people in bars, parties, or apps, and then decide if they want to continue the relationship from there. This modern approach reflects the progressive and open mindset deeply rooted in Iceland's cultural history. Women have the same rights and independence as men, evidenced by gender equality in universities, where there are approximately 2 female students for every male student. Additionally, half of the members of the Icelandic parliament are women. When it comes to relationships and sexual desires in Iceland, people don't believe that only men desire sexual relations. It is considered normal and acceptable for women to also desire and be able to communicate their desires confidently. Therefore, women in Iceland do not feel ashamed to express their sexual intentions. In Iceland, women who express their opinions are seen as strong, capable, and happy. Unlike some places, Icelanders don't romanticize love too much. Although the winter in Iceland is not as extreme as in some other countries, with temperatures rarely dropping below 10 degrees Celsius, severe storms with strong winds and snowfall can still occur. A curious fact about Iceland is that the Lakagígar volcano in Iceland erupted in 1783, causing a large amount of lava and gases. The gases, especially sulfur dioxide, affected the atmosphere and global climate, leading to an extremely cold winter in Europe and other parts of the world. It is estimated that between 20% and 25% of the Icelandic population died as a direct or indirect result of the eruption. In Iceland, about 70% of children have single parents or come from separated families. It is common for separated or divorced people to stay in touch and have lunch together, which may differ from other cultures where broken relationships are more distant. Another interesting cultural aspect in Iceland is the perspective on nudity. Bathing naked is not considered a sexual experience. You can do it in safe hot springs without many people around. Icelanders generally don't see this as scandalous, but rather as a way to connect with nature and accept human nature. There are many hot springs throughout the country with different temperatures, so it's important to check the temperature before entering. Iceland is a geologically young country and is constantly forming. The Blue Lagoon is a famous location in the country, with a heated artificial lagoon all year round. Even when it's cold outside, you can relax in the warm water. However, it's important to note that showers in spas and public pools are common places to see nudity. An additional curiosity about Iceland is that due to its small population, there is a system in place to check if two people with similar genetic backgrounds are interested in having children or falling in love. This is done to avoid genetic problems in children in the future. In Iceland, people usually meet through apps or social networks and then meet in person. They also meet in bars, at work, at the gym, or at university. Iceland is considered one of the best places in the world for women. About 90% of women work and actively participate in the country's politics. The first democratically elected female president of Iceland was Vigdís Finnbogadóttir, who held office from 1980 to 1996. She was the first woman in the world to be elected head of state in a democratic election. Vigdís Finnbogadóttir was also an advocate for Icelandic language and culture and had a significant impact on Iceland's politics and international representation. The country has a positive attitude towards sex and nudity, but Icelanders don't want Iceland to be seen solely as a place for sexual pleasure. Furthermore, it's advisable to take the time to explore the country's natural wonders before focusing on personal relationships. If you agree with this view of relationships or prefer the way the country approaches it, share your opinion in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please click like and subscribe to the channel. This encourages us to produce more videos like this, and don't forget to check out the video appearing on the screen. See you next time!